Political storm erupts as questions arise over Peter Obi's silent shutdown. What silent shutdown? In recent weeks, a series of incidents involving Peter Obi has raised uncomfortable questions about access, political space, and the boundaries of public engagement in Nigeria. Individually, each episode can be explained. In Benue, Governor Hyacinth Alia, a member of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, cited security concerns in restricting Obi's planned visit to internally displaced persons IDP camps. Yes, I remember when Alia said he should not come to Benue State. The government's position was clear. No opposition visits that could complicate an already fragile security situation. I don't understand. So somebody coming to visit will complicate things. How? He's coming to help people that are displaced. And people are saying that if he comes, it's going to complicate fragile security issue. That, even in Edo State, Governor Monday Okpebholo, also an APC governor, publicly warned that Obi should not visit the state without prior notice, referencing security implications. A statement from the government house made no mention of banning the former candidate, but the effect was unambiguous. Obi's movement would require clearance. Even after the Edo State governor said that, he still went there later again and he was attacked in Edo State. And people were saying that it was probably Okpebholo that did this. I don't know why you people don't want him to be anywhere. In Borno, reports suggested that the planned donation of computers to a school in Chibok could not proceed as intended, forcing a relocation of the initiative to Abuja. No official reason was issued, but local sources pointed to unease about the political weight of an Obi visit to a community still healing from the 2014 abduction of schoolgirls. More recently, Obafemi Awolowo University OAU attributed the cancellation of an appearance at Oduduwa Hall to logistical constraints and short notice. The university, in a brief statement, insisted that no political pressure was applied. People should be lying that no political pressure was applied, but we know that they are giving specific information to all of these places that Peter Obi, they should not allow Peter Obi to come, because of course, if he comes, the crowd is going. He doesn't need to buy crowd. He doesn't even need to tell anybody that he's coming. Once they just know that he's coming, people will pull up for him. People will come out for him. So they don't want him to even come at all. Taken separately, this decision falls within the discretionary powers of state authorities and institutions. Security considerations, scheduling conflicts, and administrative limitations are not unusual in public life. Now, so, taken together, however, they invite scrutiny, especially when two of the three state-level restrictions come from governors of the same ruling party. At what point the recurring restrictions cease to be coincidental, and begins to suggest a pattern, whether deliberate or incidental? It is deliberate. That has implications for democratic engagement. This is not a question about the legality of any single decision. It is about perception, and perception matters in politics. When a public figure repeatedly encounters barriers across different states and institutions, from the north central to the south-south, from the northeast to the southwest, it inevitably shapes how supporters and observers interpret those events. They should even continue to try. If they like, they should block him from going anywhere in the state. It still will not change people's mind about Peter Obi. He is still the one we want, whether they like it or not. Modern politics offers a familiar dynamic. Efforts intended to limit a figure's visibility can sometimes produce the opposite effect. Restrictions, even when justified, may be read as suppression. It is suppression. It is not may be read as suppression. That is exactly what they are doing. Administrative caution can be interpreted as political hostility. In such contexts, the subject of those actions may gain moral or symbolic capital, particularly among supporters who already view the system as resistant to change. Nigeria is not immune to this pattern. Political history, both locally and globally, shows that narratives of exclusion can strengthen rather than weaken a public figure's appeal, whether fairly or not. Repeated obstacles can reinforce the image of an outsider confronting entrenched interests. Think of the military's era detained politicians who emerged as heroes. Think of the banned rallies that drew larger crowds the next time. The logic is not new. This does not mean that every restriction is politically motivated, nor does it suggest coordination among different actors. Governor Alia in Benue and Governor Pebolo in Edo. They govern different states with different challenges. But the fact that both belong to the APC, the same party that defeated Obi, they did not defeat Obi, they rigged Obi in the 2023 presidential election, inevitably colors public interpretation, and in politics, perception often outruns intention. Universities in particular occupy a sensitive space in this discussion as centers of debate and intellectual exchange. Their decisions about who can speak and under what condition are often interpreted beyond administrative reasoning. OAU, a university with a proud history of radical student activism and open lectures, should know this better than most. Even a routine cancellation, when it arises alongside state-level restrictions on the same figure, will acquire political meaning. For state governments, the balance is equally delicate. Security is a legitimate concern, especially in a country facing multiple internal challenges, from banditry in the northwest to separatist tension in the southeast. Yet, the management of political visits must also be weighed against the principle of openness and equal civic access. When security rationales are invoked repeatedly against one opposition figure, and by governors of the same ruling party, the public is not wrong to ask questions. The question then is not simply whether these decisions are justified, it is whether the cumulative effect is contributing to a narrative that may prove difficult to control. If the intention is neutrality, the outcome may not reflect it. If the intention is caution, the perception may still be restriction. And if there is no intention beyond routine governance, the pattern, real or perceived, may nonetheless carry political consequences. In the end, the issue is less about any single event and more about what they represent when viewed together. Are these isolated administrative decisions occurring in a tense political climate, or do they point to a broader discomfort with certain voices operating freely across institutional and geographic spaces? And in the case of state governors, a shared party loyalty. That's what it is. That distinct matter not only for Peter Obi but for the wider health of Nigeria's political environment, because in politics it is often not just actions that shapes outcome, but the meaning that people attach to them, and the meaning that we are attaching to it is that they are doing this thing deliberately. It is a deliberate action. They don't want him to go anywhere. They don't want him to be anywhere because he will always pull crowd. Its attention will always be on him, so they don't want it. That is why they are doing what they are doing. They should continue. It still will not change what God has planned for us in Nigeria. It is well. My listeners, don't forget to like, to share, subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.